Hello everyone, Scott Sylvan Bell coming to you live from Sacramento, California. It is July 10th, 2016. It's 3:45 in the afternoon, and I'm a huge fan of finding information from other industries that have nothing to do with you, okay? So here's the thing. I have a friend named Bob Beverly, and he's a therapist, and I went and interviewed him specifically on rejection, and that's all we talked about. We talked about rejection. And he was telling me the story about he met with this guy who was having some anxiety attacks, and to have the training or the coaching or the therapy that he needed, he was going to need 3 sessions a week. And, I don't know what therapists charge, but let's just say it's $150 an hour. Let's say it's $200 an hour or $250. Let's just settle on $200. $200 an hour to get therapy, and this guy really needed it. And so he was complaining about the price. He was like, I don't want to pay that much. That's ridiculous. So Bob asked him a really brilliant question that you should have in your arsenal that you may need to work around a little bit and watch your tonality and the way that you say it and how you say it to your buyer. But here's the question that he gave me, and I was like, whoa, time out. I need to write that down and take some notes. So this guy starts pushing back on price, like, whoa, that's ridiculous. So Bob, as a therapist, over here, asks his patient, so I'm the patient. So he asked the patient, looking at him, says, is it just that you don't want to pay that amount or you can't pay that amount? And I was like, whoa, say that question again. And his question was, roughly, is it that you don't want to pay the amount or you can't? And I was like, whoa, that is super brilliant. How many times have you been with a buyer and it's just like whatever reason in their head, wherever it is, somewhere in here, they just don't want to pay for what you have to offer, right? Now, this question can go wrong if you have too much oomph behind it, right? Or it sounds like you're trying to retaliate, but like out of concern and curiosity, you're perfectly fine and within boundaries, okay? So if I were to have to tone it out and do it the right way, I would say, so can you help me out with something? At this point, with everything that we have to offer, is it just that you don't have the money to pay for this, or you really don't want to? Okay? So you're going to have to take some time and figure this out. Now, remember, a lot of times in sales training, the story is either undertold, meaning not everything is told enough, or it's overtold and it's a greater story than what it is. So you're going to have to take some effort and figure it out. But therapists have amazing questions because in sales, we need 3 things to make a sale. We need a pain, we need a budget, we need a commitment. And a lot of times when someone's going to a therapist, they got a lot of pain. And that therapist has got to like agitate the pain and make it bigger and make it bigger. And so for you, maybe you go and you work with a therapist and you pay for some therapy because, we all need therapy. We're all broken somewhat inside and got some issues going on. But, some of them are going to have really good questions for you that you can use in your sales process. You just have to remember you need to tone it down a little bit, right? Make sure you have some empathy and some curiosity going on, and you can get away with asking all sorts of questions. And I don't mean this in a bad way, but here's what happens is a lot of times we'll go and do sales training, or I'll go and do sales training, and somebody hears a question. And because when we get in like confrontation mode where there's an objection that happens, this happens to a lot of salespeople where everything gets amped up a little bit. So like a normal question of like, okay, so is it that you don't want to pay for the services or you can't pay? Becomes so you don't want to pay for the services or you can't pay. It becomes too much and it starts hurting the sales process. But there you go. There's a perfect question that comes from an industry that has nothing to do with sales for a question that you can use and ask a buyer to find out what's going on. Because, there's nothing worse than going and doing follow-up phone calls only to find out that person never wanted to buy from you and they just gave you an excuse for you to get out the door so that they didn't have to tell you no, so you didn't guilt trip them, okay? So ask really good questions. Find them from different industries. All right? That's a cool thing. Now, if you could do a small favor for me in the box down below, leave a comment, question, or story, that'd be fantastic. To the right, to the left, there is a subscribe button. Subscribe, and then send it out to all your friends via StumbleUpon, Facebook, Twitter, Google+, why not even LinkedIn. Scott Sylvan Bell. Only Scott Bell with a Sylvan in the middle. We'll see you soon. Thanks for watching. Aloha.